Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, October the 29th. Happy Halloween from all of us at Bucks Island. We're going to connect with Tom Ott, Lee Pitts, Gentry Gordy, and Josh Herron, and we're going to give you some information to help you put a few fish in your boat on this Halloween weekend. Stay tuned. We'll be back with what the guys have to say. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan from Bucks Island, your Northern Alabama Mercury headquarters, with our area fishing report for Saturday, October the 29th. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to check in with Tom Ott right now and see what Tom's got to say about Lake Guntersville. Tom, what's happening up there?
Hey, Dano. Well, I'll tell you what, here's Mother Nature slinging some more at us. We've had a lot of wind. Now we're starting to get that cold weather, starting to really feel like a little Halloween-y, out there and all that kind of good stuff. The water temperatures are dropping. We're still in that very low 70, upper 60 range. I'd like to see it a little bit lower, but we're starting to come into that great time of the year when those flat side crankbaits are working really good. The A-rig is really kicking off, and just a single swim bait is really kicking, some tail out there, if you will. But man, I'm telling you, the fishing just continues to get better on this lake as it gets colder. There's not a lot of traffic out there right now, which kind of makes it nice. It's just a great time to get out. Search those little areas where you caught those fish in the spring. They're going to be right back there now, chasing bait. Get your top water out there first thing in the morning, work that through, and then just put that swim bait in your hand, lock it down, and I'm telling you, you can get out there and have a lot of good fun right now. But if you're into eating fish, it's time to get out there after the crappie.
I know you like to launch mid-lake and go into that waterfront area. How far are you putting that Mercury through? How many miles are you running through there?
Right now, I'm still kind of in that mid-lake, but I do like to get down on the lower end. That's where it seems like the crappie are really starting to pick up a little bit. I know a lot of guys head way upriver, and there's still some good grass up there. You can still get a good frog bite if you head up, in your Crow and Mud Creek areas, Jones Creek, that kind of area. But I like that mid-lake area. It just seems like there's a lot of bait right there. There's a lot of big flats. Those fish are kind of active. They're just moving all over the place. So, I don't know that there's, I think even with a kayak, if you just punched out there and you could just sit in one spot and probably do pretty well, I would think.
So are you still looking at causeways for the crappie? Are you looking in that kind of area? Is that what you're doing?
Those crappie are starting to definitely causeways and the bridges. That's always going to be a player. But those fish are definitely moving. They're moving with the bait. So as the bait starts to move back into the creeks, that's where you're going to see those big groups of crappie. Still from the mouths of the creeks, way back into the creeks, the larger creeks, maybe your honeycombs, town creeks, things like that. That's where you're going to run into those crappie if you out in open water kind of deal.
Well, thanks for spending the time with us. Go boldly with Mercury there, Tom, and we'll talk to you soon.
You know it, Dano. Tight lines, guys. Y'all be good.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan from Bucks Island, your Northern Alabama Mercury sales and service dealership. We're joined by Lee Pitts, our good friend from Weiss Lake, who, ironically, just is going to receive his new Falcon Mercury today. Lee, what's going on up there at Weiss Lake? And let's talk about Neely Henry as well.
Well, we'll start with Weiss. It's once again, we've got some weather issues that's kind of hit us. We've had some high winds this week. It's kind of put a hurting on us, but with the crappie end of things, the fish are kind of scattered out. It's you just gotta, what I've been doing here lately is I get out there on the ledges, I'm kicking that Mercury into gear, staring at those hummingbirds with a split screen and down imaging and just covering some ground till you find some. When you go up and down the ledge, you can see them when they're loaded up, and that's kind of what we're doing. Is just waiting until you find some fish.
You're having to fish them vertically? Are you using live bait, or are you able to use your garland products?
A little bit of both. It's kind of a mixture. I've been trying to get some of the, finding the fish more with the live bait, and then whenever I get them and find them in the brush, I can really, really take those bobby garlands. I'm using a little heavier head. I'm going with the 8, and even sometimes if we got a little current or wind, I'm having to put either a BB or 2 on there to get it down and kind of keep it vertical. But once you get in that wood cover, you can beat and bang around and get bit. The thing is, they're just holding real, real tight to that wood, and you just got to put it right there in the middle of it and let them come get it.
I know the Poor Folks Club from here, they had about 13 pounds win their bass tournament up there, their annual championship. So the bite there is a little bit slow as well. I know that they were flipping a little bit, but let's turn to Neely Henry. Let's talk about what's going on at Neely Henry. Coosa River Team Trail Championships next week. What should guys look for as they're starting to practice?
Well, once again, this time of year, that square bill is coming on. Even that, something with a little bit tighter flat side has been good. And still staying with that smaller spinner bait. I think the bait is still small right now. I've heard that a lot of these guys, the topwater bite is kind of slowed down. I don't know if it's the wind or the different weather patterns that we've had, but everybody's really had to kind of get something. That square bill, smaller spinner bait, cover water is kind of just like the crappie. You just cover water, stay in productive areas, and just try to get what bites you can. I think guys at Neely are getting a lot of bites, but the size is what's kind of, you're getting a lot of 11, 12, 13-inch fish, and it's that guy that can go in there and get those 2 or 3 kickers.
Well, and then look for the docks a little bit to shoot some docks for some crappie, and then you do still have some deeper brush piles that are producing as well. Hey, Lee, we appreciate everything. Looking forward to seeing you fire up that new Mercury 4-stroke and get going.
Man, I can't wait. I'm like a kid at Christmas. I'm ready to hop in it.
Appreciate it, brother. Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan from Bucks Island, your Northern Alabama sales and service Mercury leader. Wanted to check in with Gentry Gordy today and talk about fishing down there on Jordan Lake and Lake Martin. Gentry, what's going on at Lake Jordan?
Lake Jordan's tough. The bait's out deep. I know a lot of the guys in the ABT that did real well. Some of them were fishing over, 80, 90 foot and finding those bait balls suspended, anywhere from 30 to 40 foot. So they have it pushed up. There's a lot of bait in the back of the creeks in the afternoons. And there's bass back there with them, but they're hard to catch.
They get a little bit too much pressure back there? Is that what's going on?
I believe so. I managed to find some, and out of all the ones I found, I caught one. I tricked one into biting. There's so much bait back there that they don't have to look far to find your artificial bait.
So is it a live scope deal, forward-facing sonar? Is that kind of what it's doing, or are you having to get on top of them and fish them vertically?
No, they're doing it with the forward-facing. And you can do it both. You can drop straight down, but I know most of those guys, and I tried it and caught some fish, but I knew that, if I could find them on the banks, I would stand a chance, but I didn't, and I didn't put enough time into the off deep chasing the bait balls like I probably should have, but that's what they're doing. They're using forward-facing and down sonar.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's turn our attention to Lake Martin. What's happening down there?
Lake Martin is somewhat similar, but there's still a lot of good fish being caught on your main Lake Rocky points, or if you can find some trash piles, off out in front of docks. There's still a lot of good fish being caught there on your shaky heads and your Texas rigs. The crankbait bite is actually starting to pick up, and I think because those fish are still positioned, on some of that structure, if you can get a crankbait through there, that's starting to pick up. Didn't see any schoolers up there yesterday. The bait's there, but they've just not pushed up yet and started schooling. I think this cold front we had last week's kind of pushed them down a little bit.
Yeah, they'll make that first initial move to kind of pout, it seems like, but then they kind of start to begin to move. Is that what you're expecting?
Absolutely. It's just a matter of time before you get a big push, and you'll see your big largemouth start pushing up around your docks and your shallower trash piles. And also, too, the water's falling at Martin like it does every year. So anytime the water falls, that pushes the fish off the bank a little bit. But once that water falls and stabilizes, man, Martin's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, Gentry, appreciate everything. Thanks for joining the fishing report, and go boldly out there, man.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Well, hey, everybody. This is Dan O'Sullivan from Bucks Island, your Northern Alabama sales and service Mercury leader. Checking in with Josh Herron to talk about Logan Martin and Lay Lake. Josh, we know you've had a chance to put your old Bass Cat Mercury out there a little bit. You're playing around out there in the water. What's going on at Logan Martin and Lay Lake these days?
Man, it's still kind of in that stagnant deal. Fall's here. Nighttime temperatures say it is. But we just really haven't got the rain or anything to really, get these fish fired up for fall. It's everything's still fishing really mediocre right now. And that's pretty mildly. There's still fish to be caught. It's just a lot of little fish right now. Fall's here. we're trying to get it to actually show up.
It seems like the fish haven't quite tuned in that it's fall yet. And I know we've had that one real hard rain, but it lasted about an hour. What areas of the lake do you recommend? What type of, do you want to be in the middles, the backs? Do you want to be in the creeks, the main lake? What do you think best thing to do right now is?
Yeah, man, fish are still staging up in creeks. I mean, they're coming. They're just most of the time you'll get a big push where, I mean, it's a very distinct push where you can tell there's a lot of fish moving in. And right now it's still little spurts here and there. I mean, there's still a lot of fish that are heading to the back of these creeks, but there's still just as many fish in the mouths and on the main lake and everything else too. So fishing right now it's a junk fishing 101. It's run around, a lot of moving baits, chatterbaits, spinner baits. You catch them on a buzz bait early, walking bait. But until we get some kind of big distinct weather pattern, it's still going to be, they're going to stay busted up.
I know shad colors are going to be primary approach because that's what's kind of moving the most. But is there still a largemouth bite looking at bluegill that you kind of want to maybe have that approach to? Maybe fewer bites but bigger fish?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, bluegills forage for fish on the coast year round. Shad's a big distinct deal in the fall, but these fish, I mean, they're bluegill eaters. And once these crawfish start tapering off, I think they move to bluegill primarily and just kind of fill with shad. But it's no different. Like Lay Lake in particular, swim jigs, like bluegill color swim jigs are still really going to shine. Bluegill color flipping baits are still going to shine. So it's the same song, just different dance.
Have you seen any crappie anglers while you're out there? You seen where they're posting up?
Man, they still look like they're still out on the main lake. Like, I mean, you got guys that are starting to shoot docks, but they're shooting docks on the main lake. It doesn't seem like they really made that push into the pockets yet.
Well, man, Josh, as always, we appreciate everything. Fire that Mercury up and go boldly out on the water. We appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Well, that'll do it for our Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, October the 29th. Thanks for everything that you do, being a part of Bucks Island. We appreciate seeing you around the shop. We love your feedback. Keep bringing it to us, and we'll do everything we can to help you put a few more fish in the boat. If you're looking for everything that you need fishing or boating, come see us at Bucks Island. We'd love to see you in the showroom. Talk to you soon, and thanks again for tuning in.